Hey, Cowboys Nation! Tonight, we are diving deep into a matchup that promises to test Dallas in every single phase of the game as they travel to take on the Detroit Lions. From the moment the teams step onto the field, this is shaping up to be a clash filled with strategic nuances, key individual battles, and critical decisions that could ultimately decide the outcome. Both teams bring unique challenges, and with injuries playing a significant role on either side, adaptability will be crucial. For the Cowboys, navigating this contest without some key defensive starters creates openings for the Lions. But it also sets the stage for players stepping up to make an impact when it matters most. Trevon Diggs and Tyler Geaton are both sidelined, which certainly leaves noticeable gaps in coverage and edge protection. While Jadeveon Clowney remains a game-time decision, so fans will be waiting anxiously to see if he can contribute. Malik Hooker's availability is still uncertain, though practice hints suggest he may see the field. And given his experience, he could make a difference in those high-pressure moments on Thursday Night Football. Detroit, on the other hand, is dealing with a range of injuries that have forced adjustments throughout the week. Kirby Joseph is out with a knee issue. Khalif Raymond is dealing with an ankle, and Brock Wright is sidelined due to a neck injury. The tight end situation has been particularly unstable, especially considering the absence of San Laura. For much of the season, players like Shane Zylstra are on injured reserve, while other starters such as Cody Alasiga and several skilled players have questionable status due to midweek injuries, while some, including Brian Branch and Taylor Decker, are expected to play after limited practice. Others like Amon-Ra St. Brown remain uncertain, which could have a major impact on the Lions' passing strategy. These injuries highlight a critical dynamic in this matchup. The team that can adapt more effectively on the fly, respond to missing pieces, and execute under pressure is likely to gain a decisive advantage. The matchup on the field will be as much a test of mental discipline as physical ability, particularly when considering the Cowboys' defensive responsibilities. Detroit employs motion on nearly 70% of their offensive plays, which has made them one of the most dynamic offenses in the league. Their ability to generate nearly 7 yards per play on motion forces defenders to recognize patterns, communicate in real time, and adjust to a constantly moving target. Dallas has struggled at times defending against motion, surrendering more than 6 yards per snap on pre-snap shifts. Watching how the Cowboys' defensive front and secondary respond to this challenge will be fascinating, because it will require a combination of anticipation, situational awareness, and execution under pressure. Every alignment, every coverage adjustment, and every call from the backfield has the potential to shape momentum early in the contest. Individual matchups will be critical. On the offensive line, Terrence Steele and Nathan Thomas will have their hands full with Aiden Hutchinson, who has emerged as one of the league's premier pass rushers since returning from injury. His ability to generate sacks and quarterback hits consistently creates havoc for opposing quarterbacks, and Dak Prescott will need to navigate this pressure with precision. The Cowboys' line will need to employ strategic chips, quick adjustments, and precise communication to protect Prescott, allowing him to operate in clean pockets and deliver passes to his receivers on time. Hutchinson's disruptive presence in the backfield could also impact running lanes and alter the timing of handoffs, forcing adjustments in both pass protection and run schemes. How Dallas responds to this challenge could set the tone for the entire offensive approach. The running game will also be pivotal in determining control of the line of scrimmage. Detroit has found consistent success running to the right side behind Tate Ratledge and Peniel, averaging 6 yards per carry in that direction, while their left side production, though slightly less explosive, remains above league average. This balance forces Dallas to prepare for threats on both sides while attempting to limit big gains. For the Cowboys, Javonte Williams will be central to maintaining offensive equilibrium. He has consistently produced near 5 yards per carry, demonstrating patience, vision, and decisiveness in cutting through gaps, and his performance will be essential in keeping the Lions' defensive front honest. A strong running game opens up passing lanes, keeps pressure off Prescott, and allows the Cowboys to control tempo in a contest that may swing back and forth depending on turnovers and explosive plays. Speaking of the passing game, the duel between Dak Prescott and Jared Goff promises to be a focal point. Both quarterbacks bring years of experience, a similar draft class background, and the ability to make plays under pressure, which makes watching their adjustments and reads incredibly compelling. Zone versus man coverage Decisions, especially with potential absences in Detroit's receiving cores, could lead to opportunities for the Cowboys to exploit mismatches. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens will be key in stretching the field, finding separation, and creating explosive plays that can force defensive rotations. The effectiveness of these wideouts will hinge on timing, route precision, and the offensive line providing Prescott with the time needed to survey the field and make accurate throws. Their performance could swing momentum, opening doors for scoring drives and keeping the Lions on the back foot throughout the game. On the defensive side, Dallas relies heavily on its big three defensive tackles, Monty, Quinnen, and Kenny Clark. Controlling the line of scrimmage against both the run and pass will be essential, particularly as the Cowboys attempt to contain Detroit's dynamic backfield and pressure Goff effectively. Supporting roles from linebackers like Jake Ferguson and secondary players such as Savoni Revel become even more critical with Trevon Diggs sidelined. Ferguson's versatility in both coverage and run support could prove pivotal on third downs, while Revel will face the challenge of containing multiple receiving threats across the field. Defensive discipline, gap integrity, and rapid pre-snap adjustments will dictate whether the Cowboys can prevent big plays and force turnovers, potentially altering the momentum of this high-stakes matchup. The strategic complexity continues as both teams adjust for injuries, rotations, and player availability. Detroit's line features several players returning from limited practice, including Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, and Payne Sue. Their conditioning may not be fully optimal, which could provide Dallas with advantages in reading defensive tendencies, making in-game adjustments, and executing runs that force linebackers and linemen to hesitate. Balancing a strong running attack with timely passes will be vital for Dallas to keep pressure off Prescott, open intermediate passing lanes, and maintain control of the clock. At the same time, the Cowboys' defensive line must preserve gap discipline to counter Detroit's successful right-side rushing attempts, while maintaining awareness of plays to the left. Every snap, every motion, and every pre-snap shift will require seamless communication and recognition to avoid giving up big gains. The secondary's performance will also influence the contest significantly. With Trevon Diggs out, Revel will likely cover large portions of the field, and defensive adjustments will be required to account for Detroit's rotation of receivers. If Amon-Ra St. Brown cannot play, the Lions may emphasize slot or outside targets, shifting their offensive rhythm and forcing Dallas to react on the fly. Matching personnel to these offensive threats while reading route combinations will be essential to prevent breakdowns and big plays. Defensive coordinators will need to evaluate whether man or zone coverage is optimal for containing the Lions' passing game while simultaneously supporting run, defense, and pass rush efforts. Meanwhile, the battle between CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens against the potentially weakened secondary could define the scoring tempo. Their ability to separate from defenders, win one-on-one matchups, and maintain focus under pressure provides Prescott with reliable targets and opens opportunities for explosive plays. The Cowboys' offensive coordinator will likely design sequences that leverage these threats, balancing between outside shots, intermediate timing routes, and shorter passes to maintain rhythm. Maintaining this offensive diversity while controlling tempo will keep the Lions off balance, particularly given the absence of key players and rotations in Detroit's defense. As the game progresses, the intensity is only going to increase, and the Cowboys will need to maintain focus on every single detail. The offensive line will be under constant pressure, not just from Aiden Hutchinson, but from Detroit's creative defensive front that has the ability to disguise stunts, twists, and blitzes. Dak Prescott's timing, decision-making, and ability to read these pre-snap shifts will be critical in dictating the rhythm of the offense. Every snap matters, and Prescott will have to adjust in real time, whether it means sliding in the pocket, changing targets, or executing quick passes to exploit defensive weaknesses. The synchronization between the quarterback, the offensive line, and the skilled players will be crucial, because one missed assignment or delayed reaction can immediately swing momentum in favor of the Lions. The running game continues to be a strategic focal point. Javonte Williams' ability to read blocks, anticipate gaps, and execute cuts decisively could dictate the success of Dallas' offensive drives. His contributions go beyond raw yardage. He influences how the defense positions itself, opens passing lanes, and forces linebackers to hesitate, which is critical against a defense that is disciplined and capable of aggressive adjustments. Maintaining balance between the run and pass is key. especially when facing a Lions squad that relies heavily on motion and timing-based defensive schemes. Each carry and each adjustment by Williams could set up scoring opportunities that might not be available if the Cowboys relied heavily on passing alone. In this way, the running game is both a physical and a mental weapon, controlling tempo and creating opportunities for explosive plays downfield. Meanwhile, Dallas' defensive front faces the challenge of containing a Lions rushing attack that has shown versatility in attacking both sides of the formation. Right side runs have produced significant gains, often exceeding 6 yards per attempt, while left side runs, though less explosive, remain consistent and above average. Defensive tackles Monty, Quinnen, and Kenny Clark will need to maintain gap discipline and exploit every chance to collapse the pocket, disrupt handoffs, and force negative plays. Linebackers will play a pivotal role, particularly in identifying gaps and communicating adjustments pre-snap, ensuring that no holes are left for the Lions running backs to exploit. The synergy between the front seven and secondary is essential. A single missed assignment could lead to a big gain that shifts momentum and impacts the tempo of the game. The secondary's responsibilities are magnified in this matchup, especially with Trevon Diggs sidelined. Savoni Revel will likely need to cover substantial ground, reading the quarterback's intentions while tracking multiple receiving threats. The absence of certain Detroit receivers could force the Lions to adjust their route combinations, possibly emphasizing slot or outside targets. Dallas defensive coordinators will need to determine the best mix of zone and man coverage, balancing between containing explosive plays downfield and supporting the run defense up front. Each decision in coverage will ripple across the defensive unit, and the ability to adjust quickly could prevent costly breakdowns and big plays from developing. Communication, anticipation, and disciplined execution are going to define the secondary's effectiveness in this critical contest. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens remain key focal points for Dallas' passing attack. Both receivers have the ability to create separation and consistently challenge defenders in one-on-one situations, which opens the door for deep shots and intermediate routes that can quickly swing momentum. Their timing, route precision, and chemistry with Dak Prescott are essential for sustaining drives and exploiting defensive rotations. The Cowboys will likely leverage these to stretch the field, forcing the Lions secondary to defend every inch of space and prevent the box from overcommitting to the run. By doing so, Dallas can create mismatches that translate into explosive scoring opportunities, keeping the pressure on Detroit and dictating the pace of play. Defensively, Dallas' ability to generate pressure on Jared Goff without sacrificing coverage integrity will be a major determinant in the outcome. The three defensive tackles, combined with strategic linebacker support, must collapse the pocket and disrupt the quarterback's timing, forcing hurried throws or mistakes. Secondary players will need to anticipate routes, communicate effectively, and adjust to pre-snap motions and shifts to prevent the Lions from exploiting gaps in coverage. Turnovers, whether through interceptions or forced fumbles, could dramatically alter the trajectory of the game, and Dallas defense will need to capitalize on every opportunity to swing momentum in their favor. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. NFL fans are buzzing with speculation after ESPN reported that veteran defensive powerhouse Calais Campbell has agreed to terms with the Dallas Cowboys. While the deal isn't officially finalized, sources close to the team suggest that the Cowboys are positioning themselves for a major defensive shakeup heading into the upcoming season. Campbell, a seasoned veteran with a reputation for dominance on the defensive line, could bring a new level of intimidation and experience to a Cowboys defense looking to reclaim its edge. The news has already sent shockwaves through the league, with analysts and insiders debating what this move could mean for Dallas' defensive scheme. Campbell, known for his versatility and ability to disrupt both the run and pass, would immediately slot into a role where his leadership can influence younger players while still delivering game-changing plays. Rumors suggest that the Cowboys see him as more than just a one-year boost. This could be part of a longer-term strategy to solidify a defense that has flirted with inconsistency in recent seasons. Fans have taken to social media in droves, speculating how Campbell will mesh with the Cowboys' current roster. Some envision a renewed dominance at the line of scrimmage. Others are curious whether this is a sign that Dallas is ready to aggressively pursue further veteran talent. One thing seems certain: wherever Campbell lines up. Offenses will have to adjust. His mere presence changes blocking schemes and play designs. And his knack for forcing turnovers could inject an excitement that Cowboys fans haven't seen in years, while the official announcement is still pending. The chatter is undeniable. Insider whispers hint at potential ripple effects across the league, with rival teams already recalculating their defensive and offensive strategies if Campbell dons the star. It would mark one of the more unexpected free agent moves in recent memory, igniting a mix of hype, speculation, and outright intrigue. Cowboys faithful are holding their breath, imagining a defensive resurgence led by a player whose impact transcends the stat sheet. NFL insiders will be watching every step, eager to see if this rumored signing becomes a reality, and whether Dallas has just made a move that could redefine their defensive identity. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.